Do you remember this location and this video?
I can't believe what I'm looking at. This is completely shocking and saddening to me.
That site initially left me both shocked and sad, and I feel that we can use an update on that situation. If you're curious like me as to what's changed at this location, well, all you need to do is come along with me. I'd like to welcome you back to the number 7 reservoir here in Dunmore, Pennsylvania, a location that I had documented numerous times over the years, but it's my 2 most recent videos that I filmed here that mean the most pertaining to this video, because those 2 videos, we witnessed the demolition and deconstruction of 1800s construction of an iconic reservoir here in Northeast Pennsylvania. If you haven't seen those videos, I definitely recommend checking them out. They'll give you a better idea and picture as to what was taking place back then. They will be linked down below, but in the meantime, I'm going to give you a quick summary to bring you up to speed before we do check out the changes here today. So back around the summer of 2023, the reservoir lake here was drained considerably to the point that much of the lake bed was exposed and you were able to actually walk out there if you wanted to. I didn't know what was going on. At first I thought maybe this was being decommissioned. Thought maybe they're going to do some remediation on the dam wall. Nobody really knew anything except that the water was drained unannounced and it looked like a site that we'd never seen before. Came back, I think end of October, early November to do an update to see how it's looking. That's when I witnessed demolition and construction crews back there tearing down 1800s construction buildings. They were stone-built castle-like structures that were built, I believe, around 1870, the first one. They were really historic and iconic to this reservoir. They stood out amongst the other ones in the area. And when I saw them tearing them down, it initially gave me that shock and sadness feeling, because that means we weren't ever going to see them again. I'm glad I was able to document it when I did, but they are permanently gone except for one remaining structure, which we will see. After that video came out, I did a little bit of research, also heard feedback from viewers. It turns out that this reservoir and several others were part of a multi-million-dollar project to bring these reservoirs up to standards, up to date, so to speak, to ensure longevity for decades to come with the latest and greatest technology, new building materials, just making them stronger and better than they used to, but the cost of removing what used to be here. Fast forward a few months later, I did return yet again to do an update because it was heavily covered in the news that this project was under the microscope of a criminal investigation. When we were here to document it with the lowered lake bed, the exposed sediment, well, we saw there was a lot of sediment built up for years upon years, so much to the point that when the water was at capacity, some areas of this lake were only a few feet deep because the sediment was so built up, so high, there's only a few feet beneath the surface. It hasn't been dredged out for a long time. But when they lowered the water levels, they were using a pipe system that flowed under the spillway, sending the water downstream instead of over the spillway. So all that sediment was exposed to the environment. With heavy rains and water erosion, sediment was breaking off, flowing downstream past any catch barriers that they had, polluting the waterways downstream. So much to the point that some erosion was starting to cause concern, because as the sediment was going down, it was changing the depths of the creeks and rivers and streams and sending the water in different directions where it hasn't previously went, causing erosion. It was changing the depths of the creeks and streams, and it even got to the point it was so bad that they couldn't stock trout for the first day of trout until that problem got remediated. So DEP had to work hand in hand with the Pennsylvania American Water Company to make sure that all the necessary protocols and measures were being taken place going forth for the remainder of this project. And now we're here nearly 1 year later. I was here in May 2024 with that update. It's now middle of May 2025. We're here on a Sunday. They're not working, and we're gonna be able to check out what progress has been made, to see what's different, and to see how things are coming along at what is now a sad looking site, but we do know some things that we did learn through those previous videos. So let's take a closer look at what's going on here. This is where watching the before videos will help you see the before and after, but I will insert some screenshots as well. But first thing that's evident, the reservoir is full. From the looks of it, it looks like it's full to capacity. The one thing I can't tell you though is whether or not it's been dredged or not. I do know that was part of the project to dredge it out, make it deeper to hold more water, more capacity. Oh, it's actually an all-terrain vehicle back there. It's like a side-by-side. Well, right where he is like an island area. The water flowing into this splits around that, coming from that direction, splits around that island, fills up the lake. That island area has always been there. I've been on there on foot with my e-bike, explored it. I was able to walk out on some of the lake bed when this was drained. So that island area is still there. But they may have dredged in front of it. They may not have dredged it yet. Can't determine that. I also noticed it looks like a buoy that's floating out there too, which I don't remember seeing before. It looks like it is new. As we come around though, some work has been done. Some things have changed, but not a whole lot. Honestly, I was expecting more progress. Now the main building was right there. It's completely gone. That excavator has some large stones there. That's probably the last of it there. They probably crushed it up and hauled it away. That was the main castle-like structure. There's also some smaller structures around it. The only thing that's still remaining from the original days, I could tell, is that little structure back there with the steel door on it. It looks like it's the same design element. In front of us in the spillway, water is flowing over, which it's not flowing all that great because, actually, I'm surprised it's not because we've had a lot of rain the last few weeks. I figured this would be roaring over. But what I'm thinking, I remember spotting last time, is on the other side of that wall there is a new pipe that they inserted going through the spillway underneath it, and it discharges somewhere down there. Actually, it's discharging as we speak. So I'll get you some footage of that later. So they are keeping the level lower through that pipe system. It's not strictly using the spillway here. Hopefully that makes sense. But what we see here is for the most part original. That hasn't been altered all too much. They've obviously excavated behind it, moved some material around, made some coffer dams down here. It's little dry dock areas. Even looks like a fifth wheel trailer ball down there, or trailer hitch. But they're definitely working the area. There's a compressor down here. It looks like there's storage utility, Connex containers, various pieces of equipment. And there's also a camera mounted over there, which I remember last time it's still there on the railing of the catwalk there. So they are monitoring the site, probably both for individuals and just to see how the water is flowing. This is about all we can see from here, so like the other times I did bring my Plan B with me, and we'll use that to get some additional footage. All right, so we are in the air. Gonna fly across the top of the spillway here. If you look up just a little bit from the center, the camera is mounted there on an arm. It's right there to the top of the screen. Now that pipe that they built is somewhere underneath the water here. I don't think it's going to be visible, but I just wanted to show you the general area where water is being, I guess you could say, sucked through, pushed through, discharged from. So I'll come across here. If you look downstream, see that water shooting out? That's what's coming through the spillway, through the pipe system. But before we get over there, let's take a look at the pipe, see if it should still be visible. Okay, yeah, some more work has been done. Yeah, they excavated a lot of the buildup behind the retention wall there. Is that a hole down there? No, I thought it was like a cave. Yeah, that was all filled up. This is new work from last time. And it did have like a blue valve and a pipe that was maybe connected right there. Oh yeah, they have like different levels built. There's ladders down there, platforms. So it's changed from last time. More work has been done, just wasn't visible from where I was. So I don't see that system that we saw last time. There was a blue valve and a pipe, I think, right in this general area where this pipe is exposed now. So that does look like they removed it, maybe rerouted it somewhere else. Come over here to the other side. There's a blue hose there, but that's not going to be for anything significant. You see they got this rock buildup going right down into the water, and some catwalk platforms there. See some of the stone foundations exposed. The huge castle-like structure was pretty much right in front of us. And again, just the pile of rubble there now. And when they were working on it, there was exposed valves and pipes that were visible. And now it looks like everything has been removed. So as we come down, water is shooting out under this buildup of material. You can see two valves exposed on top there. They're red in color. So the pipe is right there, water shooting out. I just don't know where it's coming from as far as under the spillway. Oh, there's also another camera right there. So they're could be watching us as we speak. That's probably just monitoring the flow of water. See, it looks like a full-fledged construction site. That building has been there for a while. I don't think it's original to the 1800s, but it has been there when the reservoir was in active operation and they left it. So let's take a slow spin around here. Let's look at the spillway. Again, water's just barely trickling over it. Okay, so here's another valve control system, which I remember water originally used to come out of there back in the day. So it looks like they connected onto that. And if I'm not mistaken, that probably does go through the spillway head wall somewhere in front of us. It's just not visible. It's probably just buried, and the other end of it is underwater. That's my best guess, but if you happen to know otherwise, let me know. And here's like a little secondary spillway. Falls down into the platform here. Cascades over. It's always been a beautiful spillway. I don't know if they're going to take this down completely and redo it, or keep this and just reinforce it. I would hope they do keep it. Just having a smooth concrete featureless spillway is not very appealing, although it's not the reason it's built. But anyways, if I'm going to look at it, hopefully it looks like it has some character. So we're going to raise up a little bit. We're going to go towards the rear of the reservoir here. I know it's really dark on the screen. It's just an overcast, cloudy day. The dark water is not helping. If it was sunny, we have a better chance of seeing if it was dredged out, but not today. So we can see that side by side is back there. See the little island area I was explaining before. The water does go around it. And it looks like he might be departing as we speak. Oh, he's going through the water. Have a little bit of fun back there. Good way to clean it off as well. See the abandoned Jessup Viaduct back there? I've made numerous videos on that as well. walked across it, faced my fears on it. It's not entirely visible with the lush foliage now, but still there, still holding strong. The last train across that was in the 1980s, Conrail. We'll spin around now, looking forward. It's done more in the distance there. We'll drop down a little bit. I'm also going to try my best to get some looks into the water. And I want to see if that buoy, if that actually is a buoy or a stick that we saw. So I'm going to lower my elevation. Yeah, right there looks like it could be a buoy. I'm going to try to get closer to it. It's most likely just a stick or a tree coming out of the water. Yep, that's all it is. I thought it was a buoy. I thought maybe that a buoy marker for identifying something underwater, but it's not. And since we can't get over there on foot today, we'll fly just over it, the island area. People still access it. There's clear trails on there, tire marks. And I don't think this ever goes underwater, but where we're going to be flying now, I was standing on with my own 2 feet back in the day, 2023, when this was lowered and exposed lake bed. There is a rock outcrop over here to the left. I'm going to fly near that. We'll just kind of take a look if we can see through the water a little bit here. Yeah, the water's got some color to it. It's not real clear, but we could definitely see a little bit, a couple feet below the surface. All right, so I'm going to fly back out to the spillway. I'm going to raise up, give you a nice angled down shot as we go over the spillway here. You may or may not see me standing there on the right, on that corner block of concrete there, or stone. We'll rotate around and we're going to back up. I'm going to show you a before and after shot that I captured before, and we're going to try to replicate that today. We're 340 feet in the air, clear above the trees and everything else. I'm going to drop down a little bit. I'm a little bit too high for the photo. And right around here, I should be able to show you the before picture of when the castle-like structure was there with the reservoir behind it. And now we can see present day. It is almost unrecognizable. Still a sad sight. This was one of my favorite reservoirs I've ever seen in person and documented, and mainly because it was those structures. Gonna get a closer look at that little remaining building that's original. The door was open last time. It's probably shut now. Again, I wouldn't advise going over here, as it is an active work site and there are cameras. But if you do, you're doing so at your own risk. Yes, this is a 1903 building. It's not original, but it's one of the original structures that were built when this reservoir first opened. I believe, again, 1870 is when it started with the main building, and then other structures were built as upon needed. This one being 33 years later. It looks like they have some plastic on the roof. And we're gonna go down Actually, I forgot below this is something that I don't know what it was at the time. There's like rods coming out of it. It's angled. So something may have been mounted there, or it could be a hatch for maybe something underneath the ground. Last thing I want to show you before we return is just the discharge of that water coming out of that pipe. We saw it from behind. I want to get in front of it just to show you the flow. Water's moving pretty good downstream there. Oh yeah, that is a turbulent of water coming out. Holy crap. There's actually a good breeze throwing around too, the drone, because that's a lot of force. That's a lot of water coming out. So that pipe is buried under these large rocks here. The valves are there to control it. You can see another pipe there straight ahead underneath that temporary coffer dam, if you want to call it that, or ramp into the water. And right over here is where I was staying before. It looked like a fifth wheel trailer hookup right here. Right there. Looks like for a tractor trailer. And there are some things in the water I'm noticing. The water's not deep here, so it is a little bit visible to the bottom. There's a large piece of metal there. Gotta make sure I'm not getting too close to the spillway here. Okay, we got plenty of room. Gonna raise up a little bit. Yeah, there's a few items in the water. Mostly rocks, but various pieces of metal and stuff. Something brighter in color right here. Looks like a pallet of bricks or blocks or something that's submerged. And of course, now the sun's starting to come out. It's always my luck. I still love coming to visit here. It's a great view, a great place to kind of relax, but very, very sad that those buildings are permanently gone. We're never going to see them again except for being documented through photos and videos like we have in the past on my channel. So I feel fortunate I did document it when I did. Now, side note, when I was packing up, I did have a visitor. I was being watched. I heard rustling in the woods on the other side of the rails. Looked over, didn't see anything. All of a sudden, I see a little head pop up over the rails. It was a groundhog. He came down the embankment, was watching me for a moment, crossed over the rails, got about 10-15 feet away from me, was munching on some foliage, was watching me though at the same time, and then crawled into the woods over here. So he was watching me as much as I was watching him, but I wasn't alone. I did have a visitor, and it was nice to get him on camera as well. With that being said, as we could tell, work is still ongoing, progress is being made. I don't know a whole lot about what's being done or what has to be done. I did envision it being further along at this point. I was expecting maybe the foundation or starting of construction of a new pump valve house. Doesn't look like they're at that particular spot yet. They're still doing some remediation work. Looks like of the spillway, the head wall, and other things being cleaned up with blocks of stone and stuff like that. So work is ongoing. I don't know when it's going to be completed. If I was to guess, I would say not this year, maybe 2026. I could be wrong, but it looks like they still have a lot of work to do and a lot of unknowns. I don't know what's going to happen with the spillway. I hope it remains original. If not, well, again, it's been documented on my channel and by others. I do enjoy coming back here to give updates. It's been 1 year since my last update, and if you guys want to have continued updates on this, I'll come back about every 6 months. Unless I do hear news of something taking place more significant, I'll come back sooner. But if you guys do want to continue to get updated on this location, to get visuals and just see how things are progressing, let me know in the comment section. I'll come back 6 months from now, so that'll be around November. We'll come back again and see where things are at. If not, I'll probably come back for my own curiosity and see where things are at as well. But Anyways, like I mentioned, if you want to see my previous videos here, not only the most true recent ones, but other ones, there will be a playlist down below for all my Reservoir videos, but also linked specifically to my 2 previous videos that we talked about the most in this video. I want to thank you for coming along. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to my rambling, as we did get some pretty good views. Not the best of conditions with the dark, overcast skies, but we made it work and got to see the latest on the number 7 reservoir here in Dunmore, Pennsylvania. So take care. Thanks once again. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.